In an unusual breaking news announcement, US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has launched a new Pentagon program to screen service members for testosterone deficiency. Yes, you heard that right. The military is officially checking hormone levels to keep America's fighting force in top shape. According to Secretary Hegseth, troops aged 30 and older will now get annual testosterone tests as part of their routine health assessments. If levels are low, treatment is available, but entirely voluntary. The Secretary put it plainly. This isn't about turning soldiers into superheroes. It's about restoring and optimizing natural capabilities, protecting longevity, and ensuring US war fighters have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. Social media is already having a field day, with some calling it long overdue, while others joke that the age of the dad bod in uniform might finally be over.
At the Department of War, we have the most elite warriors on the face of the earth. Every single day, you are pushed to your absolute physical and mental limits to master the profession of arms. We demand your all, and you give it. But while we invest heavily in our weapon systems, platforms, and gear, our most decisive tactical advantage will always be the individual warfighter. We have a sacred duty to maintain that advantage, which is why we must constantly look for new ways to optimize your performance, your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best. Because it's well-established science that as we age, testosterone levels often naturally drop. Under the supervision of our world-class medical professionals, warfighters age 30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessment. It's a health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding this test. Those under 30 can voluntarily choose to get the test as well. If treatment is recommended, it's entirely your choice to receive testosterone replacement therapy. This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. We owe our warriors the absolute best medical care in the world, and this program delivers on that obligation. Taking care of your long-term health means ensuring you remain strong, resilient, and capable, not just for your next deployment, but for the rest of your life, so you can thrive long after you take off the uniform. As we know, the modern battlefield is brutal and unrelenting. It requires and demands maximum psychological and mental readiness. And by addressing these health markers early, we're keeping you on the leading edge of lethality and giving you the same level of support that you give this nation, the absolute best. Godspeed, keep going, and God bless.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has announced the rollout of an EU-wide age verification app, claiming it will protect children from online harm by restricting social media access. The app is tied to the European Digital Identity Wallet, which requires users to authenticate their age, effectively forcing digital ID verification for online platforms. Despite being promoted as privacy-preserving, the system links back to government identity infrastructure, paving the way for broader surveillance and control. Critics of the app accuse von der Leyen of turning Europe into a full surveillance state, with one online commentator noting that this isn't about child safety. It's the nanny state building the infrastructure for mass online surveillance.
It is very clear that we need age-appropriate restrictions to platforms. This is not about whether children can access social media. It is about whether and when social media can access our children. The question is no longer if children face risks online, but what can we do to give children a safer start online? And here our age verification app is one of the tools to get it done. It's easy to use, it is privacy preserving, and it is open source. This is basically about putting back the power into the hands of parents. And that brings me to my third point today. The more we learn and the more we see the impact on our children, the stronger the argument becomes for social media start date. Just as we don't give our children keys to the car before they have their license, or we do not let them buy alcohol until they are legally allowed, we need to set the age at which the children can legally access social media. This won't be foolproof, and change takes time. It will take time to embed the cultural change that is already taking shape in our society.
The US National Endowment for Democracy has released a new report accusing China and Russia of expanding authoritarian influence worldwide through coordinated disinformation, political interference, and support for repressive regimes in a new period of impunity. China strongly opposed the report in its latest foreign ministry briefing, calling it groundless slander and a Cold War mentality, while accusing the NED of being a US tool for interference in other countries' internal affairs.
Yesterday, the National Endowment for Democracy held a briefing to introduce its report testing the limits China and Russia authoritarian influence at scale in the new period of impunity. What is your comment? The so-called report concocted by the National Endowment for Democracy is riddled with fallacies and disinformation. It fabricates and spreads the so-called narrative of authoritarian expansion, vilifies China's external exchanges and international organization, hypes up the China threat narrative, and China firmly rejects such an ill-intentioned and malign move. Over the years, the National Endowment for Democracy, under the pretext of promoting democracy, has subverted other countries' governments, interfered in other countries' internal affairs, stoked division and confrontation, misled public opinion, and infiltrated people's thinking. This has caused grave consequences, and it is despised by the international community for the bad track record. China stands ready to develop friendly cooperation with countries in the world on the basis of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. We would like to share development opportunities with the world, uphold international fairness and justice, and serve as a defender of world peace, a contributor to global development, and an upholder of international order. We urge relevant institutions and individuals in the U.S. to have a correct understanding on China, abandon bias and arrogance, stop political manipulation, and mind their own country's business.
Stay connected to the Love World networks for more updates from around the globe.